We got him.
Rest now, brother, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
It was never my intention to make light of the murder.
Charlie Kirk, he died like a Viking king.
I forgive him.
I am so excited.
Let's get serious for a moment. Okay. So a couple weeks ago, a man was shot in front of a live audience of people, in front of a lot of people. It was outdoors. Thank God comedy is indoors. Sorry, I was just thinking out loud, but a man was shot in front of. He was shot dead, fatally wounded, as they say. It's kind of a like a misleading. It's like he's dead. You're like, he was fatally wounded. You're like, wait, he was just wounded? Like fatally? Oh. Yeah, my grandfather reached fatal old age recently, actually. But I'm going to be honest with you, okay? As a comedian, as a public performer, I was utterly scared, okay? I'm going to be vulnerable with you guys. I was terrified when I saw that. I saw, wow, I mean, if that can happen to him, you know, could it happen to me? I say some inflammatory things sometimes. I was just talking about Tylenol earlier, you know? Okay? And so I was scared. I shut down. I freaked out. I honestly did not even want to leave the house. And, you know, I felt like I had no one to talk to, and I felt so alone and so in my head. But thankfully, within about 36 hours, the governor of Utah came out and said, we got him. And I finally relaxed and I was like, thank God, we're back. We're back. We are so back. Oh my God, they got the guy. They got the guy. I want to give a special shout out to the FBI, Utah police, the Trump administration, and of course, special shout out to Kash Patel for bringing justice to this case. There was a killer on the loose for a little while, but they got him. Guys, why are you not excited? They got him. Yes. Have faith in the system. The system works, okay? Yes, you just get back to work, keep paying your taxes. It'll go directly to Israel. It's going to be totally fine, man. Yeah. 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 Why are you not laughing, my love? All right, that was called satire. The truth is, the killer is still on the loose, and you should be f***ing terrified and angry at these motherfuckers who are lying to you, okay? They are lying to you. They're lying through their teeth, okay? And they're doing it so deliberately and so sloppily, and people are back to work. And to be honest, I think it's because so many people hated Charlie Kirk that they're just like, nah, we'll let this one slide. Like, no, it doesn't matter if you hated or loved the guy. Like, something happened here, and we deserve answers, okay? We deserve answers. Unfortunately, you came to a comedy show where you will undoubtedly get more answers than from your government directly. Because unlike the government, I actually go on TikTok and consume information. I don't just own and censor TikTok. I actually go on TikTok. And seriously, a lot of people don't like hearing this, but this is very likely going to be the assassination of our lifetime, in the sense that, no, I'm sure a couple of you were alive for JFK. Bless you, boomers, okay? Bless you, boomers. Obviously, JFK and MLK, these people meant more to a lot more people than Charlie Kirk did, but you have to understand, these things were not shown to us live on social media. There weren't millions of people watching when it happened, and there weren't this many people back in the 60s. So this is actually huge, and it was done right in front of our eyes, and there's way too many holes in the story for us to just be like, everything's fine. You know, I think it's so messed up that we are so desensitized to shootings that now whenever a shooting happens, every comedian's like, what's my angle on this? You know, it's like the shooter already found it. I mean, structurally a good joke. It's about a 45-degree angle joke. And I mean, like, I made messed up jokes. My friends made way more messed up jokes because it was a school shooting, and my friend called it a mass shooting. And I was like, bro, only one person got shot. He's like, no, but he was Catholic. I was like, that's f***ed up, dude. That's f***ed up. It was a mass shooting. I had to say it again because I know half y'all didn't even get it. If you believe it's Tyler, fine. We all need someone to blame from time to time. And why not just put on a guy named Tyler? That sounds perfectly reasonable. Tyler Robinson, too. Nice vanilla name. And I already told you, I'm against violence. I don't have to repeat myself, okay? I'm against violence. I don't like that a guy got shot. I'm pro-humanity. I think it's f***ed up. But also, I'm gonna make jokes. You kidding me? It's like people like, oh my God, you're making jokes because a man died. Have you seen my genocide material? Bro, stop shooting motherfuckers and I'll stop making jokes. Deal? Maybe the jokes will get you to stop doing it. No, it won't. But yeah, so anyways, people were upset. Who cares? What matters is our government is lying to us, okay? And sometimes you gotta be your own private detective. I really wanted to dig in, go into the case, watch as many TikToks as I possibly could. I wanted to look at the details and really understand why our government is lying to us and how to prove that they are lying to us. So let's look at the facts here. Allegedly, Tyler showed up to the campus at 8:29 a.m. that morning, which, first thing to notice, not quite as an achiever as Luigi. Luigi was on site at 5:30 a.m. in the dead of winter, when the sun rises at 8 a.m. He was up with the birds, man. Tyler rolled out of bed at 7:45, grabbed his grandpa's rifle, and then went to the school and allegedly stuffed it in his pants, because you see camera footage of him walking around campus with no rifle, but yet he didn't leave to go get it. So he was walking around with a rifle on him, and they don't know where so he had to have stuffed it in his pants, which I would believe if he wasn't wearing skinny jeans. Bro is Gen Z, his jeans were like this, and you're telling me there was a shotgun right there? Bro, like, I'm wearing relatively skinny. I can't even put my hand in my own pants right now. This guy can put his whole grandpa's rifle in there. Bro, I don't believe it. Okay? The shooting happened at 12:23 p.m., okay, which is already really crazy, right? 12:23, 1, 2, 2, 3. It's like counting to 3, but you stutter. Just saying, the signs are there, man. At 12:23, a shot rang out, okay? Instantly, you have footage of allegedly Tyler running off of the roof and jumping off of the roof. Something you should know about this footage, it's been alleged, there's no actual proof of this, but I hope this does come out. That camera footage we've all seen of Tyler jumping off the roof is only a portion of what that camera shows, and that camera actually shows a wide view of the entire rooftop of that building, which could potentially show Tyler at the moment of the shooting. But for some reason, they're not showing that. This is all alleged, but you would presume if we have a camera that caught him jumping off at the right time, why do we not have a camera showing more or less where he was on the roof in the position of the shooting, right? But you see him jumping off with no rifle, so either, again, he was in the pants, just like, which, his knees bend, so there's no way. There's no way. And so some people say they see a thingy, he has a thingy, perhaps like a towel or a piece of cloth that the rifle is under, disassembled, which is potentially could make sense. The only thing is, to disassemble it, he had to use a screwdriver, which he left on the roof. That's what the FBI is saying. They say that the screwdriver, he left it on the roof, it's probably still there. How sloppy they are. The screwdriver is probably still there, And he left on, they say that his DNA is all the screw, he's just like, and he threw it on the roof like a f***ing idiot. He's like, disassemble. So allegedly then he has the disassembled rifle, fine, which I'll buy that, but then he then stashes it in the woods, or as he calls it in his text, his drop site, okay? Stashes it in the woods, fully reassembled. Which is okay, don't know why you did that. Does he like puzzles, you know what I mean? Sounds like his mom was taking Tylenol, okay? Stashes it in the woods, fully reassembled, which is fine. Maybe he did reassemble the rifle, but without the screwdriver? He left it on, did he have 2 screwdrivers? And he's like, this is my DNA one, this is my non-DNA one. But he left the scope all messed up for some reason, just to f with us a little bit. The crazy thing about this shotgun that he had too, it was allegedly his great-grandfather's or his grandfather's shotgun, which in his text he calls my olds man, or something like that. And get this, there's no serial number on it. Why? Because it's so old, it was before serial numbers. Oh no! How convenient. Apparently, his great-grandfather used this rifle in World War I. And then his grandfather used it again in World War II. And now Tyler used it to start World War III, apparently. The shotgun, by the way, it's called 30-06. It's existed for 119 years. Apparently, you can still use it. And it's called a 30-06, which is also how old I tell people I am. I'm 30-06. They can't figure it out. They're like, is he 37? This 30-06, he stashes it in the woods, left his screwdriver on the roof for some reason, after having it in his pants for half the day. It was a busy day. This started at 8:29 a.m. for this guy. Tyler then flees the scene, and he goes home at some point. I don't know if he goes home, but he goes somewhere, and he half changes his outfit. He only changes half the outfit, doesn't change the full outfit. Wants to leave us guessing a little bit. Changes half the outfit, and then he's then seen at 6:30 p.m. that night at a Dairy Queen. Which, again, following in Luigi's footsteps. What are you guys doing? Luigi went to McDonald's. Tyler's got to go to Dairy Queen. Like, Gen Z, do you really need fast food that bad? You just did a shooting. So there's a picture of him standing at Dairy Queen, but there is a chance that that picture is AI, in which case, DQ. DQ. Okay? These are all just very surface level, very easy to observe things. Here's where it starts to get weird. There was engravings on the bullets, which again, is Luigi our guy now? Like, are we doing everything like Luigi? If I ever had bullets, if I ever engraved bullets, it would be like things about me, like I'm late to things, so like delay, defer, decimals, that would be mine. There was engravings on the bullets. They were weird, okay, but Tyler also, you know, you look at his story, he's kind of a weird guy, I guess you could say, but like one of them said, if you're reading this, you are gay, LMAO. Tyler is a 4.0 student. Like, he literally had a scholarship. I don't know, that just sounds like something more like that, like Kash Patel would write, you know what I mean? Here's where I think the most concrete evidence that this was completely staged and fake comes in. If you watch the video, and I know it's gruesome, the video of Charlie Kirk getting shot in the neck, I know it was hard to see. Like, for me, when I saw it, I was like, I can't believe I'm seeing this. I said that like literally each of the 20 times that I watched it, back to back. It was a lot, but there are a lot of videos now, both on the left, on the right, people from all over the spectrum who are analyzing this video, and they have a very good point. When you watch it in slow-mo, it does not look like the bullet is entering through here. It looks like it is exiting. In fact, when you see it very closely, you see some frames of something behind his neck, and then you see Okay? Now, I've never been shot in the neck, so maybe it could go like this first. I don't think so. It looks like it's leaving his neck, and he kind of hunches forward too, which what you would do if you got shot in the back. And also, he does something with his hands. They say it's like a neurological thing you do when you're hit directly in the spine. He does that right away. So you would think it hits him there, and then it comes out the neck. You literally see it coming out. When this shooting first happened, a bunch of people came out like, yo, this had to be a professional job because he did it from 200 yards. But then a lot of like hunters came out and be like, nah, I can do that. So I'm like, fair enough. I don't spend a lot of time at the range, okay? I'm kind of scared now, though. Fortunately, most of my shows don't have 200 yards worth, but we're good. But now, all of the gun experts are coming out and saying a 30-06 will shoot through bricks. Oh, really? And they've actually posted videos showing the 30-06 shooting through like 3 bricks. But apparently, the autopsy, which at first they said they didn't do, and then 2 weeks later they said they did, claims that the bullet went into Charlie's neck and his bones were so strong because his mom did not take Tylenol. She just drank straight milk. Straight antibiotic-rich milk. And his bones were so strong, the bullet was stopped. The bullet shot by a 30-06, which usually goes through cement, was stopped by Charlie Kirk's bone, and they said he's the man of steel. They said he's the man of steel, which more like the man of Stop the Steal, if you remember the 2020, but the bullet was literally stopped by the steel. It was stopped by the steel. Now, this is utterly preposterous. If one thing has come from this whole Charlie Kirk thing, I realize I don't believe in miracles anymore. The word miracle means nothing to me. The word coincidence, no. Like, you know what? You're allowed one miracle a decade that I believe, okay? And you've already used it. Biden stayed alive for his whole term. I am done with miracles, okay? You're telling me that this miraculous bullet, it came in from the roof over there and hit Charlie. It went in, made it look like it was leaving, went inside of him, and then it probably on the way it like hit JFK, came back through, it like time warped into the 60s, came back around, and then punctures Charlie Kirk's neck. It hits his bone, and it's like, I'm done. When every YouTube video using a 30-06 from any range shows it shooting through f***ing cement, but you're telling me this magic bullet, okay, it goes through. And maybe you could argue, Sammy, it's all an illusion. What happened was the bullet goes in and then it ricochets off and then turns around and comes back out. You could argue that to me. You could make that argument because things do happen really fast. But in that case, you're telling me this bullet goes inside and it goes in and it does it's like, no, I'm gonna turn around. It does a complete 180 and then just goes the opposite direction. And that would literally make the bullet a turning point. Okay. USA. Okay. I actually wrote that joke the first day, but I didn't want to tell it till this week. I even told it to my comedian friend. I was like, bro, that's brutal. Like, nobody's... Once you look at that video, you'll see like what the fuck is going on, because you see the bullet coming from back here, meaning that allegedly Tyler was on the roof over here, but like people who've looked at some video, they see some weird blurs that are going on up there. They don't know what they are. I'm not going to say exactly what shot Charlie Kirk. I'm not going to drone on about it, but I'm just saying. Look at the slow-mo replay of those videos. You see something very drone-like, okay? And you also see like a mysterious aircraft flying away really quickly that could be like the mothership for that drone. A crazy little fact here too. This was at an event in Utah where the base was mostly conservative because they were there to see Charlie Kirk and support him, and then there was obviously a lot of liberals there who wanted to debate him, and then there was people protesting the event. And they say a lot of them were on the rooftops in the distance and they were holding up pride flags. And you can only imagine that if Charlie Kirk was shot and he looks up at who did it, and the last thing he sees is a rainbow pride flag. It's up, but it's obviously a joke because in order for that to happen, he'd have to think the shooter came from Tyler, and we know he wasn't. So you can relax. That's not an insensitive joke. It's just a hypothetical scenario. Watch the slow-mo replay, and you'll know the government's lying. Okay? If that's not enough, okay? If this is the case, if Tyler did not shoot Charlie Kirk, okay, then somebody else did, making Tyler a positioned fall guy. And you're like, but why would they go through all this effort to place a fall guy? Well, we already have confirmed there's already been 2 fall guys on the scene at that event. I don't know if you saw, after Charlie Kirk is shot, the very first thing that happens is an old guy gets up and is like, it was me! It was me! Shoot me! Shoot me! It was me! It was me! That's weird. You don't normally get that at shootings. This guy was very ready for that to happen. And so obviously they go for him, they grab him, they take him, they interrogate him, spend like a couple hours doing it, and just to find like, yeah, it's definitely not him. He even told the police, he's like, I did that to let the killer get away. He even told them that. That's how crazy this guy is, okay? Now it would be one weird thing if this was just a regular crazy guy who did the wrong thing at the wrong time. But it turns out this guy is a real person. His name is George Zinn. You can search him. And guess what? He was present at 9/11. He was there in New York City at 9/11. Guess what? He was also at the Boston Marathon bombing. I am not making this up. Google George Zinn. This guy apparently is the career fall guy. I don't know what it pays, $50 an event? I don't know what it is. But he's out there working. He's patsying left and right. It's a crazy list. It's like 9/11, Boston Marathon bombing, Coldplay Kiss Camp. Maybe not that one, but there's so many weird coincidences with this guy. George Zinn, who you would think would be someone to interrogate at this point. Be like, why the f*** were you at 9/11? Why the f*** were you at the Boston Marathon bombing? Why were you at my bar mitzvah last week? You know, all these weird occurrences. But you can't interview him. Why? Because he's now been busted for child porn. Yeah, so with all this going on, they then were like, let's go on his laptop. Oh, here's child porn. And then they had to arrest him, and now nobody can interview him. Yeah, and this, well, at least this is according to Kash Patel, who we should trust. And also according to Kash Patel, this child porn was not trafficked directly from Jeffrey Epstein. He was actually keeping it all to himself. And after they waste their time on him, they then find another guy who happened to be dressed identically as Tyler. And then they wasted a few hours on that guy. And it was just such a coincidence this guy looked just like Tyler, the shooter, on the same day that Tyler, the shooter, did a shooting. Sounds like a riddle, right? So there was already 2 for sure fall guys. So why would Tyler not be the obvious third, you know? Another thing was, if you look at the videos of Charlie in his last moments, there's men behind him doing very weird hand signals. They're going like... Either they're like the world's worst ASL interpreters, or they're potentially signaling like it's time to do it. Some people actually interpreted the exact hand gestures and were like, this means it's time, clear. And then some were saying like, why would they even need to do that? They already had a clear shot. And it's like, what do you know? You know what I mean? Right? So all of these things are very weird, okay? And honestly, after seeing all these things, I still, as a good person, as a naive, wanting to trust Uncle Sam, still believe, okay, there's a potential that this is all true. It actually is Tyler. It's just a very, very weird situation. Maybe the bullet ricocheted off the building and then went, I don't know, maybe that's what happened. And so I was like, I'm willing to accept the government story that this was Tyler. And then they released the text messages. And I was like, why are you doing this to us? Why are you doing this to yourselves? Those text messages it was the most insane. I was like, am I tweaking right now? Am I on methamphetamines right now? Or did the government really release this text message conversation with the intent for us to believe it? And if you haven't seen it yet, do it on your own time. God, it's not worth mine. I already put a whole YouTube video where I read them out loud to the crowd. They're f***ing insane. First of all, it's all in complete sentences. Gen Z does not talk in complete sentences. In it, Tyler says things like my love and my vehicle, okay? Gen Z says my whip. Everybody knows that. And it was so crazy and fake that it does make you think, okay, this is such a wild conversation that maybe this is how people speak in Utah. And maybe it's so fake that it's real, the government released it. Because why would they release something so glaringly fake unless it was like, yo, bro, this is real? In which case, my conclusion is, whether it's fake or not, which I definitely think it's fake, whether it's fake or not, the government did not read these texts before releasing them. Because any government in their right mind would read these and be like, there's no way people are gonna believe it, dude. We should just keep these to ourselves and paraphrase. But they didn't. They just released it. They're like, yeah, read it and weep. And we're like, you are so dumb, dude. And now I think we're at the point where it doesn't matter if you're left, if you're right, if you love Charlie, you hated him, if you believe the conspiracies, or if you think it was just regular old Tyler. What all of America can agree on at this point and bring us together, we can all agree that Kash Patel is a f***ing idiot, okay? We can all agree. This is unanimous. This is the one thing we should be united over. Kash Patel might be the biggest moron in the world right now. Kash Patel, which sounds like a motel chain, he's the head of the FBI. He's Aziz Ansari's jacked autistic cousin. He's been doing such a botched job of this, not only this, but the Epstein files. And I'm not saying that Kash Patel is the dumbest person in the world. Clearly, he knows how to put on a suit, you know? He knows how to use big words like Valhalla. Okay, so I'm not saying he's the dumbest person in the world, but I can say conclusively he's the dumbest Indian person in the world. This is confirmed. I can say this, I'm from Fremont, California. I know Indian people. And if that's racist, I'll f***ing take it. But I don't think there's one Indian person in here who's gonna be like, yeah, he's ours. If I post this on YouTube, every Indian person's gonna be like, we don't claim him. That's gonna be the main comment, okay? In Kash Patel's defense, I do truly believe that he does not think that these are lies. He's just being given the information and he really believes it. It's really like just trying to watch like a 2-year-old child solve a murder, you know? It's like, that's what I would think if I was at that level of intelligence. Let me tell you, I do believe that Tyler was there. I do believe that he was there. And I do believe that in some shape or form, he either knew he was gonna be the fall guy or he thought he was trained to think that he actually was the one who was gonna take the shot. So I don't know exactly who all did this with him, but let's just say it was Tyler and all of his accomplices, if you will. Tyler and all, if you want. Tyler and all. 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 I think I might be autistic at this point. I actually think this whole case is making me autistic. So the question is, if it wasn't Tyler who masterminded this "if you are gay" operation, then who was it? Well, we can at least acknowledge that Netanyahu tweeted a little bit too quickly when Charlie Kirk passed. It was really weird. He said praying for Charlie Kirk. He tagged Charlie Kirk for some reason. That was really weird. As if he knew Charlie Kirk was going to see it. Which, you know, there are conspiracies that Charlie Kirk's still alive. That's the main one, is that Netanyahu tagged him. He's like, bro, haha, get it? Yeah, you see that? Charlie's like, shut the fuck up, man. It was weird, and then obviously, you know, a lot of people saw that, and they're like, oh, it was Netanyahu, it was Israel. And so Netanyahu made not one, but 2 videos. He's like, now guys, Israel did not kill Charlie Kirk. This is anti-Semitic. And we're like, so shocking that you would say that. So that's obviously very suspicious. I mean, but it's not crazy given the fact that Charlie Kirk was certainly a mouthpiece for Israel his entire career. And in the last year, he was slowly changing course. He was becoming more like Tucker Carlson, who, you know, I don't give a what you say, I'm in love with him, okay? I don't give a what you say. Do not show me old videos of things he said in the past. He's doing God's work right now, and I'm in love with him, and I don't want you to ruin it for me. I love Tucker Carlson. When he laughs, I come. I love this man. I love him, and I love Candace Owens. And there's nothing you can do to change that, okay? Don't push me away before I start having those feelings for Marjorie Taylor Greene, okay? Don't make me go that far. It's crazy time though, dude. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Kim Jong-un. Oh. I know. So yeah, it's a weird time, but yes, Charlie Kirk was slowly turning on Israel, so it's not insane, okay? Now here's the thing, okay? Obviously I don't think it's fair to allege someone killed someone if they didn't, but in the case of Israel, even if they didn't kill Charlie Kirk, they still deserve the allegation anyway. You know what I mean? Like, first of all, the way he spoke about you killed his reputation with me. You know what I mean? And also, like Israel, you've killed so many people without getting properly punished for it. You deserve an extra allegation. So what? You get off the hook for literally thousands of people, and then you get one blame for someone you didn't do. Oh, take it. Now, for the record, I actually don't believe that Israel as a full entity conspired to kill Charlie Kirk. I don't believe that. I believe they were definitely in on it somehow. But I don't believe that it was like all of Israel was like, let's get this guy. I think it was a group of people who were somehow affiliated in some shape or form. But for legal reasons, I have to be like, okay, Israel did not kill Charlie Kirk. I'm a comedian. I'm joking. I don't think that they have time for an assassination. They're too busy with the genocide. Ask the UN. Okay? And so no, I'm not going to accuse them of this or any political assassination. I'm a comedian. I'm just kidding, okay? And I have to say in that one because I'm just kidding. That's JFK. Thought I heard a drone, sorry. So anyways, they're obviously, that's suspicious. Now, but again, I don't think it was Israel. I don't even really think it was Bibi Netanyahu. The first suspect, in my understanding, is Bill Ackman. I don't know if you know who Bill Ackman is, but Zoran talks about him a lot, so you know he's not great. Okay. Bill Ackman is a billionaire in the United States, and I don't know if I need to use a different name for his name, if I'm gonna get in trouble for this. But let's just say William Ackman. I don't know. He's a billionaire, which already shows that he's not a good person. Right? If you're a billionaire in this room and you're offended, keep coming to my shows. You got money. Here's the reason why I say Bill Ackman. Because Bill Ackman is he's a very pro-Israel guy. He's giving money to the IDF. He's very heavily involved in Israel's propaganda campaigns. And he knew Charlie Kirk very well. And a lot of people observed that Charlie Kirk was turning his words on Israel in the last year. So they started trying to reach. Netanyahu offered Charlie Kirk $150 million to be more pro-Israel. Charlie Kirk turned it down and said no. Okay? Yes. Turns out you like the guy, huh? Come on now. Come on, huh? I love that. Libs growing, baby. I love it. But Bill Ackman specifically, he staged an intervention for Charlie Kirk in the Hamptons a few months before Charlie Kirk was shot. A bunch of people were there. There's witnesses. This has been confirmed. He staged an intervention where he tried to convince Charlie Kirk to be more pro-Israel. He's like, just come on, man. Come on. Come join the boys again. Come on. It was a lot of that. Some people said the language was more aggressive. I don't know if that's the case. Some people said he made threats. I don't know if that's the case. But we know that he staged this intervention where he was trying to get Charlie to be more pro-Israel once again. Charlie again said no. Because if you saw Charlie in his last few months, he was like, I don't understand what's going on. He called what's going on in Gaza ethnic cleansing. He said, release the Epstein files. He confirmed that Epstein probably was Mossad. He was pointing out the ills of the Israel lobby in the United States and their influence and how it doesn't belong in our politics. And these are all things that I wholeheartedly agree with. And you know, it's crazy that it took Charlie Kirk that long to turn, but he was turning. So Bill Ackman begs, he stages his intervention, he begs him, and Charlie Kirk says no. A couple months later, Charlie Kirk is shot by Tyler, so it's unrelated, right? Now, if that's not enough, this is the crazy part. Tyler was turned in by his dad, okay? So that's how you know this was a white family, right, obviously. Son, do you have something to confess to me? Dad, I shot someone at a school today. I'm so sorry. Like brown kids, we don't talk to our parents. Like, my parents don't even know the names of my best friends, you know? But Tyler's dad was like, all right, where, when, what? Tell me who it was. And Tyler's dad then turned him in. But there's a reason he turned him in that's also not discussed as much, which is that there was a reward posted for whoever brings in the killer gets a reward, $1.2 million. That's a pretty, yeah, I would have found Tyler for that one. Right? And guess who posted that reward? Bill f***ing Ackman, dude. Bill Ackman offered the reward of $1.2 million. Now, some sources are trying to say, oh, but the father's turning it down. He's saying he's donating it to charity. Oh, bull. He can still Venmo it to him. You don't have to be all public about it. But you don't find that a little bit weird? A couple months earlier, this billionaire is begging Charlie Kirk to turn and go with the agenda. Charlie Kirk says no. A couple months later, he's shot. And then the next thing you know, the killer's dad is paid $1.2 million. That's f***ing weird. So that's why I put that guy as suspect number one, okay? Suspect number two, Trump. Okay? Those bruises don't come too easily, all right? That guy's clearly been handling a 30-06 of his own. Trump is so desperate at this point because, you know, so many people hate him, and it's so clear that he's in the Epstein files. Like, we all know. Even his base knows at this point. Trump is so good at lying that I think that he's convinced himself that he's true, like, no matter what. But, like, I think that that's why he has these bruises now, because his body's just like, nah, dude. He's like, we're going to show the world what's going on the inside. The bruises didn't even come after the Epstein files. It wasn't even that got to him. I think it was the South Park episode. I think it was the South Park episode. It just hit him right like it. And the bruises started coming out. Charlie Kirk stormed in to the White House and told Trump not to escalate with Iran. His words were starting to turn on Trump somewhat. And he was demanding the release of the Epstein files. Charlie Kirk, you have to understand, he was the most influential and powerful conservative commentator, especially with the youth, which is their only hope for the future. And so again, even if it wasn't Trump, he deserves an allegation. Fuck him. He's not getting punished for so many of his other allegations. Why not just throw another one in there? Okay, and you can't remove me. I'm not on ABC. Okay. Now back to so suspect number three. This one's going to upset a lot of people, but I wouldn't be a true private investigator if I didn't look into this option. I don't know if you guys watched any of Erica Kirk's speeches, but they're a little weird. They're a little weird, man. They're a little weird, and I've been watching a lot of TikTok, and there's just some questions that I need answered. Okay, now, I'm perfectly willing to acknowledge Erica Kirk. She's the wife of Charlie Kirk. She may be completely innocent in all of this. I could be entirely wrong and a horrible person for even speculating, in which case I will burn in hell, in the flames of hell. Ah, I'm dead. Ah, the rapture. Ah, I'm dead. And she's innocent. She's an angel. She'll ascend to heaven. Great. Right? right? The creator will settle the score, okay? But in the meantime, it's looking a little weird, man. And I need some questions answered, bruh. She's given a few speeches now. Erica Kirk spoke at the Charlie Kirk Memorial, which I watched for research purposes, okay? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I am a human being who I disagreed with on a lot of things, was taken from us on this planet. So I wanted to come at this from a human perspective. This man had a family. I wanted to watch this woman speak from a place of empathy and be like, yeah, I disagree with this guy on so many levels, but I want to watch this. I came to cry, dude. I was like, I need to cry today, man. Like, the FBI is lying to me so hard. I need a safe place. I need to look and find solace in the eyes of this poor woman who actually lost another human being, and remember the humanity of this, and remember that even if we disagree over politics, we are humans, and we need to connect with each other on the most subtle of human levels. So please, Erica Kirk, let me look into your eyes and let me weep with you while you grieve for your fallen husband. And I came to that. I came to watch for that. I came to cry, and I came to awe. But within 30 seconds, I was like, what the am I watching? What the is this? Why is she laughing? She was literally snickering, and Charlie, like, she's like, I know he's somewhere. Like, it was like, is he alive? Tell us. And maybe she grieves fast. If she does, props to her. I'm all about efficiency. You know, I could be that kind of sociopath. Like, if I ever lose someone important, you might see us and be like, this guy's f***ing weird. But I'll tell you that in advance. I'll be like, yo, I'm a weird person. I do move on very fast. I lost a lot of math colleagues to Evans Hall, and I was forced to grieve very quickly, like a step function. And so maybe she grieves fast, and maybe that's just, maybe everybody's different, and I could be totally wrong. And again, I'm gonna burn in hell. I'm dead. I'm already dead. But while I'm still alive, why was she snickering during this performance? Why did she seem so chill about everything? Why is she now fully taken over Charlie's company and already doing podcasts? It hasn't even been in 3 weeks, okay? And she's already taken over the company doing podcasts, like smiling, snickering. And it just seems to me, just from a very basic impression, that either Charlie Kirk is still alive or she killed him. Those are the only two logical explanations in my mind. And again, you can be mad at me, but listen, when it comes to homicides, the spouse is always the first suspect. They're always the first suspect. There is literally statistics that show that 60% of the time someone's killed, it's the person they're in a relationship with. 60% in the world. In fact, in marriages in the United States, 34% of the time a wife dies, it's the husband. 34%. 1/3 of the time, if a wife dies, it's the f***ing husband. And guess what? If a husband dies, yeah, sorry, that's... You're either scared for your life or you just solved a murder. He's like, oh shit, I'm so dead tonight, dude. So, according to stats, 34% of the time a wife dies, it's the husband. Okay, I don't know what the stats are for the gay community. I don't know. It could be like 60. I don't know. 34% of the time a wife dies, it is the husband. And when a husband dies, 6% of the time it's the wife. Good job, ladies. Good job for being left. However, the stat says it's 6% of the time it's the wife who killed the husband. But this is not including proxy murders where the wife hired someone. Oh, convenient. That's like most of them, dude. Rarely she does it herself, man. Let's be honest. There's no stat for that, apparently. How convenient. There's no stat for spousal proxy murders. But the global stat is, if somebody dies who's in a relationship, 60% of the time, it has something to do with the person they're in the relationship with. So can we at least not be curious about that stat. In this case, the biggest assassination of our lifetime, whether you like it or not. Okay? Now I know, some be like, oh my God, this is so cold. You're analyzing a shooting by statistics. Well, that's kind of what Charlie did for a living. So I don't know if you noticed. Anytime they talking about shootings, Charlie was like, well, 30% of the time is gang violence, and you got to factor that in, you know? So, you know, I'm just saying, Charlie's up there being like, good man, you know? Now, okay, that's not all my evidence here, okay? I didn't know I had to prepare the case for you guys, but here's my engravings, okay? So you can go down the rabbit hole yourself, but there's a lot of weird things about Erica Kirk. First of all, she knew President Trump before she knew Charlie Kirk. In fact, she won Trump's Miss Arizona pageant. She worked indirectly with Trump before this. Both of her parents are involved in government operations. I believe her father was involved in Raytheon, direct like arms deals with Israel. Her mom worked for the Department of Defense. She's literally born inside of the government, okay? And she won Trump's pageant, okay? And for a while, she was part of like either the founding or the ownership of, or her family owned, or the people she worked with. She worked for an orphanage in Romania that, yes, where a bunch of children went missing. So much so, and some people say some of them ended up in Israel. I don't know. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to spread that rumor without the information. But what has been allegedly confirmed is that she was involved with an orphanage in Romania where children went missing. So many that they had to shut down operations, and they are now banned from Romania. Do you know how f***ed up you got to be banned from? Andrew Tate is mayor of Romania. You gotta to be banned from Romania, you gotta lose a lot of kids, okay? And this was at a time when she was working with Trump, and it was also at a time when Jeffrey Epstein was still active. So you do whatever you want with that. I'm just saying, that's weird, okay? But she was born into a U.S. government family, worked with Trump, knew Trump. You saw the hug that they had at the memorial. It was too weird. And she now owns Turning Point USA. We'll see. I mean, if I'm wrong, burn me in hell. But she's now taking over. We know that she's taking over Turning Point USA. She's already making content, okay? And here's what I find the craziest. When she met Charlie Kirk, it was not on a dating app. It was not at a bar. It was at a job interview. She went in to interview for a position at Turning Point USA. That's how she met Charlie Kirk. She showed up for an interview. They hit it off. He fell in love immediately. They got married in a matter of months. Wow. Yeah. And now she owns Turning Point USA a couple years later. They got married in 2021. Wow. Barely 4 years later, she owns Turning Point USA. So I'm saying you can make all the connections you want, okay? But just if you look at the whole thing, it starts not with romance or love, but it starts with her applying for a job and ends with her getting a promotion. So you can look at that however you want, okay? I'm just pointing out coincidences, which I don't believe in. I already told you that. The thing is that sometimes you need to take the red pill and go down the rabbit hole because your government's not going to do it for you, okay? The media is not going to do it for you. ABC is still out there like, was Tyler into trans people? You know what I mean? Like they're still out there like trying to figure out a fake story, okay? And if personally, like I find all this absolutely absurd. I'm going crazy, okay? Now, just to bring it back home, if you want some crazy, wild conspiracy stuff, this is the part that is crazy. This murder apparently was almost entirely predicted in a movie from 1998 called Snake Eyes with Nick Cage. Yeah, no, look at these TikToks. It's insane. I'll tell you, and you're gonna not believe this either, so you're gonna have to look it up too. But Wikipedia confirmed everything, okay? A movie from 1998 called Snake Eyes with Nick Cage. The plot of the movie is a man named Charles Kirkland. Charles Kirkland is murdered in front of a crowd of people. He's shot in the neck, exactly like Charlie Kirk, at an event that was also a boxing match where the boxer was named Tyler the Executioner. Even crazier, the date that happened in the movie was September 10th. You're like, there's no way. Look it the fuck up. Yes, go, seriously, it's a movie called Snake Eyes. On September 10th, guy named Charles Kirkland shot in the neck at an event where the guy's named Tyler the Executioner. Okay? And I'll even add some more irony that you won't find in these TikTok videos, okay? The movie was shot at Trump Tower. I'm not kidding you. It's an inside job. We're all stoned out of our minds. All of our moms were taking Tylenol and weed and Molly and Percocet. It's crazy. I'll even add some more irony that you won't find in these TikTok videos, okay? Something I did on my own. The movie is called Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is when you roll 2 ones individually, right? What is the probability of that? 1/6 times 1/6, multiply 1/36, 30/6. Which is also my age. I looked it up because I wanted to Wikipedia to make sure I was not completely, the edible had already kicked in, but I wanted to make sure it was me and not the edible. And I looked it up, and that all of that stuff, the movie, 100%, it's all happens in the movie. You can watch the movie. And so I wanted to know who kills the guy Charles Kirkland. So I looked that up, and this is how you know the movie's from the 90s. The sniper was a Palestinian terrorist. Gotta miss the 90s, man. Back when we actually had representation in movies, you know? It wasn't the good kind, but it was there. The guy who played him wasn't even Palestinian, obviously. He was like a half Latin guy. He was just like, hey, I'll be your Palestinian terrorist. And the Palestinian terrorist sniped Charles Kirkland because Charles Kirkland was working for the Pentagon on a big arms deal selling weapons to Israel. That was the one detail in the movie where I'm like, I think it's, So even in that movie, it's about Israel. Even in that movie, it's about Israel. And the plot, sorry to spoiler, but the plot basically, Nicolas Cage later finds out that his friend who works for the government was on the inside of it. He hired a Palestinian sniper who was willing to be the fall guy and basically jihad himself. But it was really his friend Kevin who worked for the Pentagon who is in on the whole thing and killed Charles Kirkland. So even in that movie, it's an inside job. So wake the up. Wake the up. And really, this whole situation has taught me so much about myself and humanity. You know, because I was not a fan of Charlie Kirk. I saw so many videos of him that I just absolutely was like, why are you saying that, man? That's so messed up. Like, why do you hate Muslims so much, dude? Like, Muslims, like, they believe in Jesus. They believe Jesus was a prophet. Like, they're so friendly with Christians. Like, why do you hate them so much? Like, why do you blame black people for everything, man? Like, can't you just be like, these shootings are bad. We need to, like, figure them out, and being like, well, black people need to take accountability. Like, can't you debate anybody older than 15, man? Like, come on. Like, I really did hate this guy. I respected his chops as a debater. I just wish he used them on somebody his age, you know? And so I definitely did not like this guy. But after seeing this and after seeing how he was turning, I found my humanity, and I found my appreciation even for people I completely disagree with, because nobody deserves that. Not only does nobody deserve to be murdered, but nobody deserves to be murdered and lied about it. You know what I'm saying? And I know nobody agrees with me because you're in San Francisco. I get it. But I found my own humanity because this whole time I hated Charlie Kirk and all the things he said. But now I'm like one of the only people trying to solve his murder. You know what I mean? So I'm trying, dude. I'm trying, man. You could say I'm at a turning point. I wrote all this material in 1998. There's a nickname they give people who went to Berkeley. They call us pussies. Comedy is a safe space because we are supposedly supposed to be able to say whatever we feel. I lost my virginity in a rental car that I rented myself, okay? Oh my God, Pete Davidson was only 8 years old when Kim's sex tape came out. There's DNA, there's RNA, and there's NWA, okay? If Biden reads that teleprompter wrong, we're gone. It is the year of the tiger. The biggest pussy of them all. I'm a smart Lebanese-ass pussy. I'm a slap, you get me? I am openly Palestinian. I was closeted for 30 years. Everybody loves political comedy, just not at the same time.
Utter in a safe space.
My parents, when they first found out about me, were considering an abortion. And I'm not saying this to get any kind of sympathy. I'm just saying there has already been attempts to cancel me. We need somebody who actually will be brave enough to run in and stop an active shooter at a school. I have an idea. Registered sex offenders. Hear me out a little bit, okay? We round up all the registered sex offenders in the local area. Trust me, there's a lot. I looked it up. We all should move. We round them up and we ask them politely to watch the school. All right? And yes, this happens to be their favorite thing to do, okay? We don't arm them. We don't arm them. No, we put a tracking device so they stay a safe distance at all times. Just eyes. Some of you are still not on board with this. Listen, I do not condone pedophilia, but you and I both know, unlike half this f***ing country, the pedophiles actually care about the survival of our kids, okay? So we ask them to watch the school. Just eyes. And God forbid there's a shooting. We tell them, you run. You save the children. You do it for the children. And they will, because they love the kids more than us. And yes, if one of them dies, then we need to agree that God forgives them, okay? This is about redemption now. And if they survive saving the school, then we make them superintendent. I don't know. I haven't really thought that out. I'm just saying, the only thing that can stop a bad guy with a gun is a pedophile with a cause, all right? And that's how you turn registered offenders into registered defenders, all right?
Are you sure? No, yellow's Republic of Yemen.
Controlled by terrorists. Oh, there's multiple? That's crazy.
No, it's territories, bro.
Territories, not terrorists,
Yeah,
you
no,
idiot.
it's territories controlled by he said terrorism.
These two friends of mine were caught putting a recycling item into our compost bin here at the house. Very disappointed. That's my mood. How are you?
Well,
Not asking you. I'm
okay.
asking the audience. How are you all today? Thank you for joining.
I just keep going.
Thank you all for coming. This is our podcast. It's not named yet. Don't worry about it. I don't even want to call it a podcast, to be honest. I think there's too many podcasts out there. I don't want to contribute to the podcast overpopulation problem, just like I don't want bottles going into the compost. You know, it's all part of the same problem.
yeah, but sometimes people just want to, listen to anything just for entertainment, and they just want to get the job done. Kind of like, blindly throwing a bottle into a bag because you're just trying to get that piece of trash out of your hand.
I was looking for the burn pile. I couldn't find it. You don't burn your trash over here?
Chai, straight out of India.
Yeah. You got an Indian Andy Richter next to me.
Yeah.
Come on.
Today we have our lovely guest, Ahmed Al-Qadri. Or Ahmed. How do you want
You could
people to-
pronounce it Ahmed Al-Qadri.
What's the most authentic way to say your name?
Ahmed Al-Qadri.
Beautiful. Beautiful. But most people call you Ahmed.
They say Ahmed.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm afraid of my heritage or anything like that. It's
You're
just,
unafraid of the Houthis?
I'm not. I personally, when I'm talking to white people, for example, or just non-Arabs, and they're like, "What's your name?" I go, Ahmed. Ahmed. That like long, awkward.
It's too much.
Me trying to them trying to figure out my name. I don't like that, so I'm like, just say Ahmed. I don't care.
Has somebody gone like too long on the?
All the time.
Yeah.
That's why I really just introduce myself. Yeah, they go, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
And then now you have like the California whites where they really want to press it. Like, hold on, let me pronounce it. Ahmed. And they're like
Right.
super nice about
yeah.
it, but it's still awkward. I'm like,
It's not awkward.
Arabic is with
It's
the throat. Use your
awkward.
throat. It's awkward.
Okay.
What's your walkout music? Like when they
I always tell them choose whatever you would like.
really?
Yeah. What's yours?
I have two. Either ABBA Dancing Queen or Look Alive by Drake on the 13-second mark. Because I know they're playing it on Spotify.
What happens on the 13-second mark?
It just, the beat drops like, boom, 901, look alive. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel really cool when I do that.
So it's overcompensation.
Yeah, it's overcompensational music. Or I play ABBA Dancing Queen because they're like, this is my vibe here.
A little flamey.
A little flamey, you know what I mean? But is he gay? Probably not, but he's happy and wholesome, stuff like that. Or it could be like this.
What's that?
Clown music.
No, the banjo. It's old. Not Cotton Eye Joe. No, not Cotton Eye Joe. I'll figure it out. Wait, this is intern. Yo, do your job. I'm just kidding. I'm not giving them. I'm not helping it out.
Yeah,
We should tell your audience how you and I met.
How did we meet?
That's actually a really
Grindr?
good question. No. I actually do remember. We hung out when I opened for Mohammed, and you
Yes.
also opened Mohammed.
Yes.
And then Mohammed yelled at me because I didn't know my place.
Yes. Mo Amer scolded you, and rightfully so. I'm gonna side with Mo on this one.
Now this is like
Yeah.
2 years later.
Of course. No, at the time I comforted you.
At the
because
time,
you're-
I didn't know what was going
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
It was honestly the first time I've ever been in that kind of situation. So
What
I didn't know
happened?
how to act.
He was
I
running
got
material.
really excited because I had a good
Yeah.
set. And then Sammy goes, "Oh, I like that little pun jokes that you do with the Middle Eastern countries." I was like, "Oh, thank you so much." And then I pulled out a list. I was like, "Here's the other ones I started thinking of."
Yeah.
And I just start like
Running
listing
them off right to me as I was sitting right next to Mo, having a conversation with Mo. Like we were literally talking,
I didn't realize
catching up. We hadn't talked in a long time, and
And
you
then he
come.
was-
And why don't you share some of these jokes that you were running by us?
Yeah, I didn't realize. Yeah, I
Sure,
did.
sure, no, let's hear some. Let's hear some.
I think brown men should have our own. Once you go black, you never go back. So I go up to a girl like, "Hey, trying to get rowdy. Here's a Saudi. Want a guy with the hard this is from Iraq." And then I go, "Oh, he's a bit quirky. He's from Turkey."
These are the good ones, right? The tried and true ones, right? Now do the experimental ones that you
Yeah,
were
I was giving him an experiment,
showing-
and then Sammy was like, "Oh, that one's good." And that, like, Sammy was being nice, and he was like,
while
"Oh, that
having a
one's-"
conversation with Mo, I was like, yeah, no, so it's been good.
Oh, I
I've
didn't
been-
even realize
I've been-
that.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
that's fine. Yeah, so it's like that. And then give us like 3 of the experiment. You know, 3 of the ones that you probably don't do anymore.
He arrives late. He's from Kuwait. Damn, you're making me bomb on your own podcast. Oh, this one, pants undone from Jordan.
Wow.
Like, it
Wow,
didn't-
that doesn't even
it
rhyme.
didn't even rhyme.
I think that's the one where Mo Amer was like, all right, just stop, bro. Chill.
Yeah, or something. I don't know.
Shut the up, okay?
Oh, by the way, are you Sunni or Shia?
I'm like Sunni moon, Shia rising.
Yeah, I mean, I know I have a few Yemeni friends, but
Who else?
Ali Sultan. Ali Sultan.
I was like, it's just
Ali
me and
Sultan.
Ali Sultan. Mike Ishak? Do you
I
know
know
Mike
a
Ishak?
few, Mike Ishak. Yeah, I don't know him too well, but I know that he's Yemeni. Yeah.
What else do you know? Do you want to know about Yemen?
Well, I want to know who the best Yemeni comic is in the world. Best number one Yemeni comedian or best Yemeni
Eddie
comedian?
Izzard is actually because we've Googled this.
So we Googled this before. When
You're
you
on-
Google number one Yemeni comedian,
Sammy
Eddie
Obeid
Izzard.
pops up.
Bet-
Sammy Obeid pops
Right?
up.
Is it a picture of me? Or do you-
It's Eddie Izzard and then it's Sammy Obeid. Can you check the British top Yemeni comedian?
Sammy Obeid.
Top Yemeni
Sammy
comedian,
Obeid.
I just want to make that clear. Who is the top Yemeni comedian according to Google?
Sammy
It is me.
Obeid.
So you have family in Yemen, and you've been to Yemen.
Yeah, last time I went to Yemen was 2013. I'm actually planning on going back soon. I want to get my Yemeni passport. I'm working on it.
Why?
I need material. And they were like, it's a dangerous country. Count me in.
You have your puns. You can fight people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, not getting any? How about a Yemeni?
Yeah. Oh.
Mohammed is there? What did I tell you? Can you put, how long was British imperialism in Aden, Yemen?
The British seized Aden in 1839.
Yeah, for 129 years. Yeah. For what?
1829. So
1839, and then
till
lasted.
till 70s. Till 70s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to the 70s.
Good job.
Yeah.
This is SparkNotes version. So, but basically,
You're doing
so Ali Abdullah Saleh was rising to power.
Yep.
Ali Abdullah Saleh was a similar president like everybody, like all the other Middle Eastern presidents, playing a lot of games. Like, for example, like he would...
Like chess, checkers.
No, yeah, like he was playing both sides with everybody. So
Okay.
even with America, like when America announced their war on terror, he would capture Al Qaeda terrorists, whatever, and then sell them to America, get
was
money
selling
from
Al-Qaeda terrorists.
Well, yeah, because he was giving it to the American government, and they would
Yeah.
give him money. But then he was also sided with Al Qaeda too, so he was like playing both sides.
He would buy in wholesale from Al Qaeda.
Something like that, yeah.
Al Costco.
I mean, and again, and this is like, this is if you go deep, this is all like obviously hearsay. And I mean,
we're
that's why I
asking right now.
admire you a lot in your comedy, because you're smart. You're good at political comedy.
I don't know
stay
a lot.
away
I know
from
I
politics.
talk about what I know, and I try to learn more so that I can talk about more stuff, you know. And I don't know a lot about Yemen's history, but I do find it very interesting that the Houthi rebels are associated as like the kind of the face of Yemen, even though they're not Yemen. But at the same time,
Yeah, and
they're in
everyone's
a sense
cheering.
they
Yeah.
are in control of Yemen.
They
because,
have half the coast, so
They have-
that's
yeah.
how they're like shipping out boats, right?
So,
yeah,
so
they took over. Like they have Taz, right? Can you check? Let me see. Can you zoom in? Are you sure it's no? Yellow's Republic of Yemen.
Controlled by terrorists. Oh, there's multiple. That's crazy.
No, it's territories, bro.
territories, not terrorists, you
no,
idiot.
it's territories controlled by. he
Just
he
sees what
said
he wants to
terrorists.
see.
in his-
Just sees what he wants
No,
to see.
but
But like, listen, here's the thing: when they declared war on Israel, they on Israel, they first shot rockets and it hit Egypt. Like they don't have to roost it. Like even my uncle was like, "This is a joke, right?" No one took him seriously when they declared war.
Yeah.
So they shot and then they shot some more rockets. Israel and Saudi Arabia intercepted the rockets.
But
Like,
they
this is
are
your fight.
really, really good at seizing cargo ships.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
You
And
gotta
then
give 'em
they
credit for
shot missiles at a U.S. ship. That's what they say.
They look at the timeline. The Houthis, they seized a few cargo ships passing through the Red Sea.
Yeah.
I think some were either headed to Israel or some were heading from Israel.
Yeah.
I believe they didn't kill anybody. They just threw,
No, they didn't.
They threw like some dance parties on them. some very,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, throwing
conservative-
weddings,
Yeah.
all dudes, no chicks, great
Yeah,
dancing.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
and
holding
I mean-
hands.
Yeah, chewing
Right.
cots.
And then, but of course, this intimidates people who are passing through the Red Sea, and so a lot of cargo ships then had to route around the Red Sea
Yeah.
in order to avoid that, and this costs a lot of money.
A
which-
lot.
a lot,
And
a lot of money.
And that's when the U.S. and U.K. were like,
Yes.
we're stepping in.
Yes. The first reaction was Rishi Sunak, who, because BP said that they would not go through the Red Sea anymore, Rishi Sunak started calling for a ceasefire.
Rishi?
Yeah.
Oh,
Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister of UK, because he has obviously some kind of stake in BP, and
Probably,
suddenly, all of a sudden, became about a ceasefire.
Yeah.
And then the U.S. was like, "No, we got this. We're gonna go send our ship over there and calm things down." And I believe we sent a ship.
And they got bombed.
and they sent a missile.
Then the Houthis actually shot fire.
But that's
at
the
it.
thing. It's like, am I like, again, I personally didn't like what the Houthis did in Yemen, like what they did, killing, blah, blah, blah. And I don't agree with the stance of death to America, death to Israel, all that stuff. I disagree. Call me crazy.
Yeah, I like
Call me
America.
old-fashioned,
Call me old-fashioned.
but I'm not a fan as an
Yeah,
American
yeah.
citizen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Me personally, I'm just anti-war.
Yeah, I think that's a good stance.
AKA a little bitch. So all your listeners are like, wow, what a little pussy.
Low
What a
T.
bitch.
Yeah.
What a little low T
People,
asshole.
people tuned in here to be like, yeah, he's gonna fucking seize a ship and he's gonna like.
Yeah.
just like, actually, I don't like war, guys.
The only ship I like are relationships. Can everyone love each other, please?
Where's Moammer?
There it is. Yeah, yeah.
Well, so thanks for tuning in to our podcast. Anyways, so check out Ahmed's special, February 24th.
Yeah, February 24th, I'll be releasing my special, not special. It's going to be on my YouTube channel, Ahmed Al-Qadri, my Instagram, and my TikTok. And I'm going to get back on Twitter. Ahmed Loves Bread. AHMED loves bread. If you follow me, you become a breadhead or a breadcrumb. If you come to a show or buy merch, you become a purebred. At the end of the day, we're all breadwinners.
Wow. And
Says.
And if-
Well, that's
show that
Mohammed. Where's Mohammed?
yeah, I was gonna say, and if you get too friendly with him, you're an inbred.
Can I use that?
All right.
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
of course.
Subscribe.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody.
That makes sense.
I don't speak for Palestinians. I think that we should stop using the name Palestine. It's the colonial name. I think we should drop it and go with Palestine. Palestine is the Arabic way of saying it. The only issue with that is then Americans would have to pronounce that. And they'd be like, Palestine! We're going to Palestine, kids. It's been an incredibly difficult time for people who have family over there and, are watching everything that's going on. I'm actively calling for a ceasefire because I suffer from this condition called empathy. I posted that I want a ceasefire, and this guy was like, "Oh, so you're just for taking hostages?" And what a horrible thing to say. No, I am against hostages. I want the hostages to come home. I want the Israeli hostages to come home, and I want the thousands of Palestinian hostages to come home. Nobody should be a hostage. I am anti-hostage, okay? I don't even like having people over. I don't like inviting people over to my house. I don't like them willingly coming over to my house. I am anti-guest, okay? One time I had guests over for too long, it became a hostage crisis. I didn't want them there. You have to feed them, take care of their emotional needs. I live with my mom. I'd have to clear it by my mom first before I could even think about taking hostages. I'm not taking hostages because I don't want to be a host. You got to be a host to take hostages, and that's very stressful. That's where the root of the word hostages come from, because the host ages from the stress. But that's been the wildest part as a comedian about this whole thing is the censorship. The censorship on Israel-Palestine is pretty wild, man. You guys know Elon Musk, the president of X? So Elon Musk, he visited Israel but wouldn't visit Gaza, which is like, you'd think Elon would have a little more sympathy for the Palestinians because he has a history of building tunnels. And he could learn how to finish them. But Elon Musk came out on X and he said, anyone who uses the term decolonize or from the river to the sea will be suspended on this platform. And it's like, so much for freedom of speech, big guy. I thought that was your whole thing. You can't say from the river to the sea? What if you're giving directions to someone on a boat? See a guy on the boat near the ocean, middle of the lake, like, hey buddy, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna go from the river to the... Whoa! What you doing there? Hey, I'm just saying, from the river to the sea, his boat will be free. That's all I was saying. No, but you're saying once it gets out on the ocean, it's gonna sink the other boats. Like, this isn't Battleship. I'm just giving directions. I want the liberation of that particular boat. That is simply what I'm saying. From the river to the sea. You know who else uses from the river to the sea? A baby salmon. Aw. Yeah. All the baby salmons are born, they're hatched upstream, and they have to swim from the river to the sea. From the river to the sea is a tale of a liberation of the baby salmons that you eventually eat. You want to ban that? Okay, I'm not going to be completely insensitive. I like to sympathize and empathize with people. I understand. If the term from the river to the sea makes you feel uncomfortable because you've heard it in a certain way, I want to sympathize with that, okay? Has the term, let's be honest, has the phrase from the river to the sea been used with the implication of the dissolution of Israel? Yes. But has it also been used by Israelis with the implication of the dissolution of Palestinians? Yes, it's in the Likud manifesto in the 70s. So can we be fair here? Are we just gonna ban all ambiguous terms? Should we also ban I'll call you later? That's extremely ambiguous. For some people that means I'll call you in an hour. For some it means I'm never calling you. That last one is extremely disingenuous. I've been hurt by that phrase many times. Should we also ban I love you? Nobody knows what the fuck that means. That term has been abused. Terms can be ambiguous. You know, we do need to acknowledge that. In the meantime, I'll avoid ambiguous terms. I don't even use the term Zionist, okay? Not because I don't know what it means, which I don't. Okay? But because nobody knows what it means. No, but not even Zionists know what Zionist means. It's a very ambiguous term. Like, Ask your Jewish friends. Talk to your Jewish friends about Zionism. Sounds like an infomercial. Talk to your Jewish friends about Zionism. Well, step one, get Jewish friends, okay? Step one, get Jewish friends. And ask them how they feel about Zionism. And you'll discover that there's many different interpretations of Zionism. It's like levels of a video game. There's like level 1 Zionism, which is like, I believe the Jews should have a homeland and they should be safe. And you're like, hell yeah, who would disagree with that? You'd have to be a monster to disagree with that. And then there's level 2, which is like, yeah, it should specifically be in Palestine, and they're going to have to work it out with the Palestinians. And you're like, okay, where is this going? And then there's level 3 Zionism, which is suddenly like, God wants me to be here, and if you got a problem with that, say hello to my little friend. Like, whoa, whoa. I'm just trying to pick olives, man. And those are like the lower levels. The most extreme level of Zionism isn't even coming from Jewish people. It's coming from the Christians, the evangelicals. Christian Zionism, that's the wildest one. That's like the final level. That's like all Jews proceed to the Holy Land so Jesus can commence the end times. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What was that? What was that? Do you even like Jewish people? Why do you want the end times so bad, buddy? You just want this video game to be over. The evangelicals want game over. Yeah. And then we should also note that there is also Jamaican Zionism for some reason. Yeah. Occasionally in reggae songs, you hear Zion, Zion, Bomba Clock, blah, blah. Like, okay, all right. That's a thing too. Okay, sure. All right. Well, my point is that nobody knows what Zionism means, right? But if you speak with your Jewish friends, okay, of course there's anti-Zionist Jews as well, but if you speak with your Jewish friends, you'll find that many of them, most of them, I would say, are the first 2 levels. And if we can be understanding of that, then we should also be understanding of the fact that when most people say, from the river to the sea, they just mean that Palestine will be free. That's all they mean. That's all they mean. They're not asking for anybody to get hurt. They want the liberation of millions of people to live with freedom and self-determination. You would think we would understand this in this country, America. America, America, the land of freedom of speech. Where as long as your intentions are good, you should be able to say whatever the fuck you want. From the river to the motherfucking sea. What the fuck was that, you know? Every day I send everybody I know videos coming out of Gaza because even before all of this madness, I liked ruining people's holidays. And I think people need to know. I think people need to see the realities. A lot of people are just not watching the videos from Gaza. Anybody who just looks okay, they're not watching videos from Gaza. Every time you hear the devastating news coming out of Gaza, you hear this many thousand people have been killed, and this many of them are women and children. Every time it's this many of them are women and children. And this is horrible. Women and children are getting killed. And also, do we not care about men anymore? Do we just stop caring about men? Where are you at, Jordan Peterson? I'm here to say that Palestinian men matter, okay? There is nothing wrong with being a Palestinian man. I tell myself this in the mirror every morning. There is nothing wrong with being a Palestinian man. If you watch the videos coming out of Gaza, every time a bomb drops, you see a neighborhood of Palestinian men rushing to the scene, moving giant rocks, lifting bodies from the rubble and carrying them to safety. All while wearing sandals, open toe. The fearlessness of these men and their feet is underrated, okay? You don't want to go toe to toe with a Palestinian man. Strong arches, these fellows, strong arches. These men are out here doing God's work without proper footwear. And this is proof that Palestinian men have good souls.
I'm 3/4 Arab, but with a beard I look 4/3 Arab. You know what I mean? Why are you not laughing? That's funny, man. And now that you guys like me, I'll go ahead and say it. I'm Palestinian American. Shoot, damn! You booked me! Now listen, a lot of people don't know much about Palestinians because there hasn't been too many famous ones in history, and I guess the ones who are that people don't really know who they are. Just Yasser Arafat and Jesus. Check the location. And DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled also. Those are our representatives, Jesus and DJ Khaled. In fact, when they came out with the New Testament, they were like, another one. That's what happened, dude. I'm a very proud Palestinian, but I'm your friend, you know what I mean? I put the pal in Palestinian. What? Yeah. So you're getting weirded out. That's fine. My great-grandma was born in Bethlehem. I tell people this like, oh, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania? I'm like, yeah, that's the one, for sure, dude. She was Amish. No, it's the Bethlehem. Everybody knows that Jesus is from Bethlehem, right? But most people can't point it out on a map. It's a very complicated geopolitical question and answer. Fair enough. My niece asked me last Christmas. She's 5 years old. She said, where's Bethlehem? I gave her the simplest answer you could, a 5-year-old. I said, well, technically it's in Palestine. But America, we don't recognize Palestine as a country, so technically it's in the Palestinian territories, specifically the West Bank, not the Gaza Strip. It was part of Israel, but they handed over the Palestinian National Authority in 1995 under the interim agreement of Subpoint 5, Section 2, UN resolution. Of course, before that, part of British Mandate Palestine, of course, before that, part of the Ottoman Empire. You could argue that it still is in Israel technically, of course, because Israel technically occupies the West Bank, but Israel, of course, would say that is not the truth, because that is against international law under many counts. Don't tell you JK, they already know. It's really very complicated, but Jesus is from there. Merry Christmas. So that was the simplest answer I gave her. 45 seconds, I tried my best, and then she's like, well, is Santa Claus real? I'm like, 100% Santa Claus is real. Are you kidding me? That guy's so real. She's like, what are you getting me for Christmas? I gave you the gift of Palestine. What more do you want? Like, people pay to see my shows. I gave it to you free of charge. She's like, free Palestine? I was like, exactly. You know how hard it is to do that joke in front of this crowd? I just did it because I'm your pal. I'm your pal. I love you. I respect you for booking me. Let's work together to bring peace and the end of hatred all across the world. All across the world. I'm Sam York. Thank you so much. Love you guys.